Hey everybody, it's the Red Man again, and I just really wished I could have gone more than 72 hours without the sports world giving me another dose of cancer, but the absolute ass clowns, the NBA, take no rest from their absolute ass clownery. Like I mentioned last time, the horde of left wing SJW anti masculine leftist locusts are out to ruin everything that's good and decent in this world, including sports, and there is no greater offender in that regard than the National Basketball Association. And I know, FIFA is just the screaming shits, but I promise you, the NBA is much, much worse. The only thing FIFA has going for it is that it ruins the whole world rather than just America, Canada, and of course China, like the NBA does. But the NBA is much, much more malignant in its idiotic incompetence. And it's primarily because of this bald-headed satellite dish-eared hobgoblin right here. Let's take a closer look at him. That play button's kind of in the way. That play button and that doofus-ass mask. The NBA commissioner, Adam Silver. There he is. This ugly-ass pencil-neck, pencil-dick hobgoblin with African elephant ears. Why the hell is it recommending me Barnacle Boy? He, I don't know. Does anyone else see a resemblance here? They kind of have a big nose, but that's it. Barnacle Boy doesn't have Arizona Crater for his ears. I'm getting distracted. These locusts, there's no other way to describe them. They're a swarm of locusts. They're insects, and they might all be going in different directions at once, but they blow across the land, ruining everything they come in contact with. These locusts have spent the past year or so insisting that all of society shut down over the cold, and nobody has acted more hysterically about this than possibly the NBA, except for maybe the Democrats in Congress. It has reached the absolute peak of idiocy. I cannot describe to you how utterly moronic this is. Usually, when people do depraved or moronic stuff, I can kind of comprehend, what was going through their head, how they thought they were going to benefit from it. No matter how evil or stupid it may have seemed to an outside observer, there's some thought process you could understand them making. I have no comprehension of what went through this idiot's hollow skull when he made this decision. NBA to enforce rules forbidding hugs, handshakes with mid-court security. Indeed, after witnessing some opposing players disregarding new league rules against unnecessary contact on game nights, the NBA is moving team security into the mid-court area to dissuade violations that include hugging and handshakes, according to a league memo obtained by ESPN on Wednesday. That's right. This buffoon, this absolute jackass, this bottom of the barrel bargain basement bonehead has declared that grown ass men who just spent 48 minutes passing a ball around between each other, posting each other up, boxing each other out, and of course dunking on each other all to filth, can't shake hands afterwards, can't just say, hey, good plan, bro, or catch up with former teammates, friends, whatever. Because that, of course, would be unsanitary. That might spread the coronavirus if you say hi after the game. Never mind that this league has existed since 1946 and in 3/4 of a century has played through every flu season up to this one without such ridiculous measures. And never mind that the Rona is particularly non-fatal to these sort of people who are playing the games, people under the age of 80 who aren't morbidly obese. We have to ruin normal human interaction so that everybody can see what an woke, caring busybody this dumb motherfucker is. It says, as coronavirus infections increased amid a darkening pandemic, the NBA recently tightened regulations on players and staff, including several meant to lessen the possibility of on-court transmissions. This if you're worried about on-court transmissions, just shut down the league. There's no way you're not going to transmit the disease by huffing and puffing up and down the court for 48 bloody minutes if you're going to transmit the disease by shaking hands after huffing and puffing up and down the court for 48 bloody minutes. And, like, that 48 minutes of actual game clock. There are timeouts where you huddle up by the bench to, write up a inbounds play or go over your strategy for the next few possessions or what have you. There's halftime where you all go into the locker room and your coach, runs down how you all fucking suck and what you need to do better in the second half. But yeah, if you shake hands after the game, that will cause a pandemic. Jesus Christ. It says, despite those changes, there were still instances of traditional player contact in post-game scenarios. Now, this is not an outrageously bad article by ESPN. It is mostly just factual reporting, but this is ridiculous bullshit language. It is not traditional player contact. It's normal human interaction. There's nothing like old-fashioned about human beings interacting with somebody or each other, especially when they just, played 48 minutes worth of basketball together. I remember after rugby matches, we went and drank. Shaking hands, saying hi, yeah, good playing, man, or, hey, you're a dickhead. Yeah, ha, but you're a dickhead too, after the game, is just what normal people do. But these idiots, these far left-wing social justice warrior, virtue signaling, performative ass clowns, they're not normal people. They live in a isolated bubble of stupidity with the rest of their bougie left-wing dipshit friends, and all they do is sit around and talk about how aware they are and what they're doing to make the world a better place, except for, being good at or for anything or holding a real job. People who serve food don't do stuff this fucking stupid. People who, work construction have more sense than this. Only idiots running a league supported by the fucking federal government and every city government that pays for all its stadiums at every turn are this bloody stupid. Only a lawyer could be this fucking devoid of sense. Anyway, despite those changes, there are still instances of traditional player contact in post-game scenarios, which led to the NBA to issue a memo Wednesday reaffirming the rules that require teams to remain on their half of the court in pregame and halftime warm-ups, and limits physical contact to include only elbow or fist bumps. I guess you gotta straddle the freaking half-court line to daintily touch elbows, even though you'd still be breathing in each other's airspace. Mind you, after 48 minutes of glomming all over each other for rebounds. Like I said, I can't comprehend how you come to a conclusion this stupid. I can't comprehend how you get any dumber than this. This is surely the absolute nadir of human stupidity. I refuse to believe this species can come up with something more asinine than saying basketball players can't shake hands after a game because the cold exists. And this last paragraph is remarkably honest by ESPN. If you put a little bit of thought into it, kind of gives away how much of a nothing burger the entire disease and pandemic and all this shit has been. It says, for the week of January 13th through 19th, the NBA had 11 new positive cases, not hospitalizations, not deaths. Cases, meaning positive tests, from a PCR tests that even the World Health Organization now admits is kind of bullshit in how it brings back so many false positives. 11 new positive cases of the Rona 19 out of 502 players. That is, what? Does it be 10%? Rugby player trying to do math. What's 11% or 11 out of 500? Is that 1% would be 5, right? So that's like 2%. Okay, 2% of players tested positive on a test that I'm pretty sure has a false positive rate of at least 2%. On Wednesday night, the league postponed Friday's game between the Washington Wizards and Milwaukee Bucks. It was the 17th regular season game postponed, despite, I'm almost positive, not one player actually being sick, certainly not one player being hospitalized, and absolutely certainly not one player being killed as a result of any of these false positives or positive tests. And just comprehend, the NBA played its previous season's playoffs. The NHL played playoffs. The NBA and the NHL have started their regular season. The NFL has played their entire regular season. The NCAA has played half of a basketball season, an entire football season, and the MLB played 60 games of regular season baseball and an entire expanded stupid-ass bullshit playoffs that's really pure cancer, but another issue for another time. And through all of this, in the worst pandemic everest, I don't think one player or coach or staffer or anybody who's tested positive has died. I'm not sure even one's been to the hospital. I remember Carl Anthony Towns' mother, or maybe his grandmother, some relative of Carl Anthony Towns that had no actual affiliation to the NBA, died allegedly due to complications of the coronavirus. But that's about it. Nick Saban, the football coach from Alabama, his 69-year-old kind of chubby, rickety ass tested positive twice. And when they tested him positive the second time, they said, oh, the first one was a false positive. Nobody stopped to think, like, the first one was a false positive. What makes you think the second one was accurate? What makes you think any of these were correct? He tested positive twice, didn't go to the hospital once, and is still alive. Throughout all of these leagues, playing all of these sports, including contact sports like hockey and football, we've probably had over 1,000 players test positive, or 1,000 players and staff test positive. Not one death. At what point do these people step back and think, maybe this really isn't worse than the flu we played every other winter sport in throughout the history of the last century and a half? At what point does idiocy like this preventing people who just spent an hour falling all over each other and passing one ball around, mind you, at what point do they step back and say, maybe this is stupid. Maybe we don't need to prevent them from shaking hands after the game, after they've been hand-checking everybody all game. Talking with their coaches on the bench, sitting shoulder to shoulder with each other on the bench. They might have to wear masks, but if you're going to D-up a guy, you're 2 feet from him face to face. Who cares if you wear a mask on a bench? What good is that going to do? This is just purely performative idiocy. It's so this jackass, this bald-headed dumbfuck, four-eyed moron, absolutely sub-idiotic cretin can go to his other oligarchical billionaire friends and go, oh, I'm leading the charge in the fight against the coronavirus in these most trying of times. Even though no lockdown or mask measure has actually shown a particularly positive impact in the spread of the coronavirus or the number of deaths in a coronavirus. The only thing that correlates with that is population density. And if you were really that worried about the spread of the coronavirus, you wouldn't be playing basketball games. But that would affect your bottom line, wouldn't it, you soulless, money-grubbing donkey penis? These people are just, they know, millions of people watch. I have no idea how millions of people watch the NBA anymore, but they do. God help them, they do. So they're trying to subvert the actual sport to push their political bullshit in many other ways, but also regarding, the cold. It's bloody infuriating. I'm sick to death of it. When I turn on an NBA game, if I were to ever turn on an NBA game, I want to see an NBA game. I don't want to see a bunch of jackasses, shepherded around the court by armed security so that they don't shake hands. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's ruining sports. It's ruining society. It's ruining the human species. I hate it. I want it to stop. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you next time. Hopefully we can go 72 hours without a dose of weaponized dumb-assitude from the sports world, but you never know. I gotta stop opening up the ESPN app to check the score of the Ranger game. All they do is suck and lose, and all ESPN shows me is the absolute pinnacle of emotional and mental inadequacy of the human species, and it weighs heavy upon my soul. Until next time, y'all take it easy, Have a good day. Try to have fun. I'll see you then. Take care.